We have all felt that specific physical hesitation, the elevated heart rate and the shallow breath while your hand hovers over the mouse. You know you have to initiate a difficult conversation with a colleague. The anxiety is paralyzing. When we face this kind of tension, our biology usually forces us toward two extremes: silence or violence. We either ignore the problem until the relationship degrades, or we wait until we boil over and react unproductively. Over the next few minutes, we are going to build a step-by-step conversation blueprint to remove the guesswork from these interactions. Grab a pen and a piece of paper. I want you to bring one specific, unresolved conflict with a colleague to mind right now. Mapping this out on paper shifts the conflict into a structural workspace where you can address the individual parts of the problem without being overwhelmed by the emotion of the whole. We begin by opening the conversation in a way that disarms the recipient's natural defenses. The most effective strategy for this is the fumble. Popularized by Simon Sinek, this technique requires you to lead with your own vulnerability. Write this script down. I need to have a difficult conversation with you. I'm afraid of having it because I'm worried I'll fumble my words and make things worse, but this relationship is too important to me to avoid it. To finish the opening, you must explicitly ask for permission to proceed. Can we have that conversation right now? Stating your awkwardness out loud bypasses their fight or flight response. By asking for their patience, you invite them to become a partner in the dialogue, rather than an adversary you are trying to defeat. This framework is built on 3 pillars: feeling, behavior, and impact. This structure prevents the conversation from derailing into a debate over who said what 6 months ago. Under feeling, avoid broad emotional terms like upset or angry. Instead, write down a specific emotional state, such as "I am feeling distance between us," or "I was put on edge." For behavior, omit the words always and never. If you claim they always interrupt, they will immediately recall the one time they didn't. Instead, pick one specific recent situation to describe. Finally, define the impact. Explain the broader consequences if this continues, like the fear that the team will become demoralized or that the working relationship will eventually break. This framework creates a divide between unarguable personal feelings and objective, isolated facts, allowing the recipient to hear the critique without immediately needing to defend their character. Now that the script is written, we need to calibrate how it is actually spoken. First, aim for clarity. Do not hide your point inside a compliment sandwich or use softening euphemisms. If the news is bad, state it directly so the listener can begin to process it. Second, maintain neutrality. Take your cue from NASA Mission Control. Regardless of the stakes, they report data in steady, uninflected tones. Your goal is a functional exchange of information, not an emotional performance. Finally, use temperance. Review your phrasing to ensure you aren't using words designed to provoke or score points. When you lead with clarity and neutrality, the recipient reacts to the data you are providing, rather than the emotional energy you are projecting. Even with a perfect script, human reactions are unpredictable. You need a tactical countermeasure for when things get amped up. Use the rule of 5 to read the room. This gauge helps you measure the intensity of their emotional response against the scale of the issue you raised. If you address a minor procedural issue and their reaction spikes into the red zone, that anger is almost certainly rooted in an unseen stressor. It isn't actually about the work, it's about something else. When you see this spike, replace judgment with curiosity. Use a clarification statement. "I can see how you took what I said that way. That wasn't my intent. Tell me more about what's going on." Recognizing this disproportionate reaction allows you to remain detached. You can stop fighting the emotional symptom and start looking for the actual root cause of their frustration. Review what you've built: a vulnerable opening, a precise FBI statement, and a curiosity-driven ripcord for emotional spikes. Remember that human interaction is inherently messy. You will likely still fumble the delivery or feel awkward in the moment. The goal of this process is not conversational perfection. The real objective is to show the other person that you value the relationship enough to be honest. Take that paper with you, go schedule that meeting, and have the conversation you've been avoiding. Using this blueprint consistently builds a track record of honesty and reliability, the specific traits people look for when they decide who to trust.